Hello, everybody. It is Rebecca Robbins from Mind Shaper SLP coming to you live to talk about another audience request topic. Hello, Facebook. Hello, Instagram. I am live on both. So, I had made a video talking about how to baseline a target to determine the starting point of where to work on a skill with your child. And I had someone watch it and comment on the video asking me to do some follow up videos on some similar topics such as data collection and prompting. So, we're not going to get into prompting today. That is a whole other beast, a whole other topic. So I will create a different video probably next week all about prompting and the different types of prompts and cues and the hierarchy and how to fade them. That's a whole other topic. So I will be diving into that next week. But for today, we are going to talk about how to take data on your child's skills and how to figure out percentages and how to really quantify and track your child's progress. So, you probably notice on your child's IEP that there's lots of goals, right? And you might wonder at quarterly time or annual review time when we talk about whether the child has met the goal or has not met the goal. How the heck do these providers even determine this? Are they just kind of eyeballing it, or are they actually using scientific data? And the answer is they probably are and should be using actual data, because we write these goals as providers to be measurable. And when something is measurable, it means that it is quantifiable, which means there is some way that we can put some sort of a number to it. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is how you can do this at home with your child when you're either maybe carrying over some of the skills that your child's working on at school and you want to carry it over at home. If the school has maybe sent home some of their target list that they're working on in the classroom and you're carrying it over at home, or if you're just creating your own goals for your child and what they're working on at home. So, I want to talk about how to take data in real time. This was the specific questions that were asked, how to get a percentage, and what is a trial. So, those are the three things that I'm going to be discussing today. So, with taking data in real time, I can remember back when I was a young SLP how how clunky it felt to balance everything, working with the child and taking the data and managing the materials and everything else that I had on my plate. And over the years, it has become second nature. But I have to say that one of the things that helps it become second nature is really to be organized and to be prepped before you even take what you're working on to your child, because that really enables you to have all your ducks in a row so that it can be fairly easy for you to take track of data while you're actually there in the trenches working with your child on a specific goal. So, how can we do that? So, let's say you're working with your child on improving their ability to label and increase their number of labels or receptive identification. So, when I say improve their ability to label, I'm talking about expressively say the name of an item or object. And receptive identification is when you point to an item when you hear the name of it. So if I say point to pen and you point to this, that's receptive identification. If I say what's this and you say pen, that's an expressive label. So these are really easy to take data on, because if you just get your stack of pictures all ready ahead of time, and then when you're working with your child, what I like to do is just as I'm going through, you just make two piles. One pile is yes, he knew this label, and the other pile is no, he didn't. So as you go through the pictures, you just make your piles, and then That way you can keep your attention on your child the whole time. You don't have to worry about the data collection at that point. And then when your child's done going through the pictures and then maybe they are done for the day or they're having a break playing with their toy, that's when you can look at your piles and count the numbers. So um, to figure out a percentage from that type of data where you have two piles of pictures or two piles of items that you have been working on with your child, what you're going, my Fitbit is now going off. I just hit 7,000 steps. I got a little distracted there for a minute. um, so you have your two piles of data. The way to get the percentage is the number of yeses or the number of items that the child could do by themselves divided by the total number of items, right? So let's say we had 20 pictures and in the yes pile was 8 pictures and in the no pile was 12 pictures. Quick math, right? So what we would do is 8 divided by 20, and my little calculator here, 8 divided by 20 equals, oops, I didn't do that right. 8 divided by 20 equals, and then you get a decimal point, 0.4. So to figure out the percentage, you just move the decimal point to the right 2 spots. So 1, 2, 40%. Okay? So that is how you can figure out a percentage. It's the total number of yeses divided by the total number of things you targeted. Whatever the decimal is, you move it to the right 1, 2 places. So let's do another percentage. Let's say it was 13 out of 20. So we do 13 divided by 20 equals 0.65. So then we move the decimal point to the right 2 times 1, 2, 65% accuracy. Okay, so that is how you figure out the percentage. Let's say that you're working on a different type of skill where you don't have actual items that you can separate into two piles, but you actually need to put pen to paper to take the data. So you can either do it in real time while you're working with your child or doing whatever it is that you're assessing with your child. Or if that feels like it's too much to handle and it feels clunky for you, what I would suggest is maybe just setting up we all have smartphones now, right? Setting up your phone and videotaping what you're doing with your child. And then later on, when your child is occupied or doing something else, you can watch the video back and take your data while you're watching the video back. And then you don't have to divide your attention between working with your child and taking data at the same time. But let's say that you are taking data at the same time. What I would suggest is that you have whatever it is that you need to take the data out in front of you on a table or wherever you are. Let's say that you're working on requesting with your child, right? And you're working on requesting at snack time. And you want to keep track of how many times they're able to request cookie independently. So what I would do is just get a little post-it out like this, get a little post-it out and a pen, and every time you can count so when you're requesting, you're going to give a little bit at a time. Check out my post from yesterday for tips on requesting, but you're not going to give the whole cookie, right? So break up the cookies, count how many cookie pieces your child is going to request, write that number. Let's say it's 20 cookie pieces, and then hold it up. However, whenever your child independently requests the cookie, just make a little tally mark on your post-it because that's really quick. Tally, tally, and then when you get to 5, so that's 4. When you get to 5, you do it like that, so it's really easy to count at the end. So that's really quick and easy while your child's requesting the cookie, and then at the end you do the same thing with the percentages. So let's say it was 7 times that they requested the cookie correctly out of 20. So that is what we would put in our calculator for the percentage. 7 divided by 20 equals 0.35. We then move the decimal point 2 places to the right, 1, 2, and then that's 35%. 35% is the accuracy for that skill. So another way you could do this, I have for you, if you go to the link in my bio, on Instagram, you go to the link in the bio, free data sheet, it's called. Facebook, go to bit.ly, free data sheet, and I have a whole packet of data sheets that you can use as well to keep track of your data. And we have, when you get these data sheets, there is a data sheet for skills that require you to get a percentage of accuracy. So things that you would use this type of a sheet for would be speech sounds. So you would put, let's say you're working on the sound K, right? And you have a list of K words that your child's working on. You could write the list of K words here, and then you just check yes or no for each trial. So what is a trial? Each production of that word is a trial. So let's say we're working on the K sound and the word is king, right? So you maybe hold up a picture of the word king. Your child says king. Or you hold it up and say, what's this? Your child says ting. You say, no, king. Say king. And then they try and get their king. Right, king. I heard the K that time. Good. So because you have, that is one trial, okay? Even though your child attempted to say the word more than one time, the trial is the independent attempt at the target. And if the child's able to do it independently, you check yes. If they need help or prompting, like I demonstrated, then it's a no, they did not do it, because we're looking for independence of the skill, okay? So that whole process that I just showed you is one trial. But this could be a trial. Hold up the picture. What's this? King. Yeah, king. You said king with a K. Check yes. The child did it, and that is one trial. So it's an independent, the independent attempt is the trial. Whether there has to be some teaching or prompting that occurs after the independent attempt is irrelevant. Is irrelevant of a new trial. So that means that if the child can do it, that's a yes. If the child can't do it, then we've got some teaching and prompting that occurs, but that's still considered a trial, one trial. All right, let me know if there's any questions on that, and I would love to get into a dialogue with you in the chat. So these yes-no data sheets that you can get for free, so speech sound production is great to use for these, saying target words, math facts. You can just go ahead and list the math facts, and then as your child does it, you just check yes or no. Spelling words, when you're working through the spelling list with your child, you can check yes or no if they got the spelling list correct. Letter ID, number ID. If you're working on like identifying numbers 1 through 10, you just write the numbers 1, 2, 3, 1 through 10 down here. And then if they're able to do it, you check yes. If they're not, you check no. So that's what these yes, no percentage data sheets are good for. And then I also have a data sheet where it's just a simple yes, no data sheet. So these are good for things like vocabulary words, receptive identification of vocabulary words. So that's pointing to a picture in an array of pictures. What else? I have some notes here. Following directions. If you have like, if you say you're working on 2-step motor commands, clap, hand, stomp, feet, you would write clap, stomp. If the child can do it, it's a yes. If they can't, it's a no. Steps to complete a daily routine. Let's say you're working on your child independently completing the steps for brushing their teeth. So you could write every single step that you've broken the routine down into as on here. So maybe it's like get toothbrush, get toothpaste, put toothpaste on toothbrush, wet toothbrush, brush teeth, rinse mouth, dry mouth. And as your child is doing each of those steps, if they're able to do each one independently, you say yes. If they can't, you say no. So maybe what you do is like keep this on a little clipboard in the bathroom, wherever you're working on that. Put like get a thumbtack, put it in the wall, and hang the little clipboard on there. And so wherever you're whatever daily routine you're working on, and then you can very quickly check yes or no. And then this gives us really hard data as to how our child is doing, rather than like, oh, can he do that? I can't remember. Did he do it yesterday? Because I don't know about you, I can't even remember what I just ate for lunch an hour ago sometimes. So sometimes we just need, it's helpful to have it down on paper so we can really track our child's progress. And not only that, it's good for us. It keeps our motivation high when working, because sometimes when we're in the trenches working with our child, it's such baby steps we're making with our child. And over time, these baby steps add up to huge gains. But when we're in the trenches day in and day out with our child, it's hard to see the huge gains unless we actually take a step back and zoom out, see the bigger picture, or have the data that's really showing us with numbers the progress that the child is making. So this is another one you get in that little packet. And then you also get a blank target list where if whatever goal you're working on, let's say you're working on labeling pictures, you write whatever the pictures are, the date it was introduced, and the date it was mastered. These are great if you're an educator. These are great. They're just great tools to help keep track of how your child is progressing with the skills that you're working on with your child. So I think I covered all three questions, how to take data in real time. So I would say taking a video is really helpful if it just feels too clunky to work with your child and also take data at the same time. That can be really helpful. Getting all of your materials ready and set up before you even bring your child to the table, that makes it all really easy too. Having pre-made data sheets makes it really easy, because all you need to do at that point is just check yes or no and then add it up at the end. Don't worry about doing the calculations while your child's right in front of you. Let your child go off and play or in their reinforcer or whatever. And then afterwards, that's when you can do the actual math calculations. Just real quick again, for the percentage, it's the number of answers correct, or the number of trials done independently, divided by the total number of trials. And then when you get that decimal point, you move the decimal point to the right 2 places to get the percentage. So again, let's say, I'm going to try to do like a funky one. So let's say it was 13 out of 34 trials. Okay, so now, okay, good. This gives us a nice long decimal point. So now we have 0.3823529, blah, 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 blah. You just move the decimal point 2 spots, 1, 2, 38.2. So now we have to remember our rounding up principles from math back in the day in elementary school. So 38.2 stays 38%. If it was 38.5 or higher, 38.5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, we would round up to 39%. All right, so you move the decimal point to the right, round down under 5, round up 5 or above, and that's how you get your percentage. And a trial is the independent attempt of your child doing whatever skill you're targeting. Any prompting or teaching that happens after that independent attempt is still part of that single trial. The next trial begins on the new independent attempt. So please comment below. Let me know if you have any questions. I would love to get into a dialogue with you all. Like I said, again, if you would like these pre-made data sheets for you to use at home, Facebook, go to bit.ly/free data sheet. Instagram, just go to the link in my bio and hit free data sheet, and that will take you right to the link that you can click, get my data sheets, and they'll get sent right to your inbox. So that's it for today. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you all soon. Bye.